Alright, I don't usually post to YouTube. I generally just use YouTube as a resource, but there is a catastrophic dearth of tech and help for the Lincoln MKT. I have a 2012, and there's a couple of things that have gone wrong that, just little things that needed fixed that, and there's just not help out there for it. So today, we're gonna handle one of those things. All right, so my high mounted brake light has been super dim and not really working the way it should. I also have a little bit of a hyperblink going on. I thought maybe that blinker might be tied into the same circuit. Maybe not, but we'll see. Either way, this needs to go and we're gonna replace it. I'm gonna show you how. All right, now from watching a couple other videos, it seems like I'm gonna have to take the entire spoiler off in order to get to just the third mounted high mount brake light. So let's open it up and see what we're looking at, and we'll get after it. All right, so on some other cars there are wings that come down here. This thankfully doesn't have that, and that seems like it makes it a pain in the butt, but we got a couple of pieces of hardware that we're gonna have to get at, probably up in here as well, and here. So we'll start there. Then I'm probably gonna have to pull this panel down and see what we got. All right, so in pulling my plastic panel off, it became apparent that I can't get to it without taking the power liftgate strut off. And since we're getting into that, just to be safe, I disconnected the battery. I'm going to use an 8mm to do that, and just so nothing goes weird and wonky. When you get back here, you're going to use a 10mm to take this off, and just slide that off the post, and then you should be able to take the plastic trim down to the point where you can get at everything. All right, so once you got everything loosened, then it'll take a little bit of prying, but this will just pop up off of there. When it does, you just gotta disconnect the brake light. Make sure the gasket stays. And pull it off. All right, once you got it taken out, you can set it down, and you've got 3 little bolts to take out. Use an 8mm, oh no, I'm sorry, 7mm to take those out. All right, so the replacement piece I got is from Dorman, and it looks like a real good piece. It I got mine off Amazon. Clearly it's Dorman, so you can get it wherever, but it just slots right back in here. Connector goes through, and then you'll put those 3 bolts right back in their spots back here. All right. Just using the existing hardware. Start at one side, put the other side in. Don't tighten it down too much. You want to get them all started so you can kind of get them adjusted well. All right, so once you have the light fastened back in, we'll just bring the whole panel back over, set it on top, and get going. I had a gasket let loose on me, so I'm going to set that back in place, just kind of lay it there. Sorry guys, this is not my normal tripod, so I'm having some troubles, but got this thing laid back in place. Now I'm going to lift it up and see if I can reconnect everything. And that's the connector for the brake light and the fluid for the washer for the rear windshield wiper. Alright, so when we get back in here, you can see this popped all the way back through, but we just got to feed it back into its regular spot right there and connect it here. I kink it a little bit, but once I feed it back through, it'll be fine. And then we got our new Dorman connector here, so I'm going to feed this up through and connect that right there. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. It does not want to be done one-handed. Hang on. Alright, so there it is, all done up. Now I'm going to go back through and put all of these nuts back on their respective bolts, and we should be done. Now, I'm no ASC mechanic, but I took these things off here with a power ratchet, but don't put them back on with a power ratchet, okay? You don't want these things to be super over tight. Just get on here and give a little bit after you've got it tightened down, okay? So hand tighten and then come back with your ratchet and just make sure it's snug. That's it. Give it a quarter turn, eighth of a turn, whatever. Remember, the piece on the other side of this is plastic. You don't want to be tearing those studs out of there, all right? Okay, then we'll take our plugs, put them back in little holes here. Got our plastic piece back in the trim panel, and then we'll just cover this back up. How does that go on there? Okay. Sure, I'll fix that later. And we'll come back up here. You need to make sure you remember to reattach the battery. And snug it up with our 8mm. Just in case you didn't know, whenever you're disconnecting the battery, always disconnect the negative. Because if you're using a ratchet reconnecting or disconnecting and you make contact with grounded metal, that will do some unintended arc welding. So, you know, disconnect the negative and that takes away that possibility. Now let's go shut this thing up and see how it works. Alright, I cranked it up just for kicks. Let's see if this thing will close. There it is. Now let's see what the brake light does. Now, that did not solve my hyperblink issue. So, you know, clearly I'm dealing with something else. I gotta figure out what bulbs are what and get that taken care of. But that is the first video I think there is on YouTube about an MKT third high-mounted brake light. So I hope it helps. Hope you enjoyed it. The Dorman product looks good, works well, and have a great day.